So this is probably everyone's favorite video, which is cash flow, which is number 4 of the 6 C's. So who doesn't love cash? I know I do. Now, once you've completed watching the 6 C's, you need to go and see a video that we've got on the YouTube channel. I think it's video 5, where it's called the Deal Analyser. And what the Deal Analyser does, it really focuses and gives you more information on our cash flow, and it shows you how we generate those numbers. Now, what the Deal Analyser also does, if you've seen video 3 where we talk around our 4 profit levers, and you've watched all the 6 C's, what we do is we put all that information into our Deal Analyser, plus a whole load of more information for that to work out whether or not a certain area in a city or a certain property works for us. That Deal Analyser not only looks at footfall and how we can generate customers and what type of customer base we would have, but it also calculates our night rate. It also calculates our monthly turnover and our annual turnover figures. So we can really start to dig deep to work out if that area or if that property or size of property is going to work for us. It's a fantastic document that we have. Not many people have it. I'm one of the lucky ones, but also as well, people that come on board with us and invest with us, they're lucky as well because we get to show them how this works, how we generate our numbers, and how we can ensure that we've got an exit strategy in place so we can pay our investor back with interest. But it gives them the visual to show them what we're talking about and how we generate our figures, which is fantastic, fantastic news to have. Right, so let's get into this, cash flow. Now, I've got 2 figures here of 50% and 70%. And what those figures are occupancy levels throughout a calendar month within a particular year. Now, in order to break even, we need to understand where our stop loss is, at what point we're going to break even, and what our own personal targets are to generate margin, to generate cash flow, to make sure we can pay all the bills on that particular month. So for example, you've got your mortgage, you've got your council tax, you've got utilities, you've got your cleaner, you've got general maintenance, for example, and any breakages as well within that service accommodation unit. So we must make sure that we break even at 50%. This is based on days during a calendar month. So there's 30 days in a calendar month. So we look to break even all bills paid by day 15 of each calendar month, or 15 days within a calendar month. So our target is 0. We need to break even, all bills are paid within 15 days of the calendar month. Okay, now we've also got another target here as well, 70% occupancy level. Okay, so once we've achieved 70% occupancy level, we need to generate a figure of £750. Now these are our target figures. Now on average, with any service accommodation property that we have, our actual occupancy levels generate between 75 and 90%. But we need to have a safety barrier, and these are the figures that we have in the safety barrier to make sure that we're going to generate that money and we're not putting any of our money into this deal to make this property work. It has to reach these figures. So I'm just going to say that again because we're looking at occupancy levels in terms of days, and we're looking at cash flow as well on the same conversation here. So 50% occupancy level means that that property must be filled with 15 days throughout the calendar month to break even. If we hit 70% occupancy levels throughout that calendar month, we know we're going to generate a minimum of £750. And when we put this through the Deal Analyser, if any of these figures are minus that, so for example, that says minus £20, I get rid of the property. I'm not interested. Let's go and find another property that will work for us. If we've got look at if it hits 50% on the Deal Analyser, for example, but on the next stage of it, on the 70%, it doesn't hit the 750 and it says 725, I'll get rid of it. I'm not interested. I'll go and find another property that works. Remember, this is a very strict rule-based system, and if it doesn't meet the rules, you get rid of it. Even if it's by £5 or £10, you get rid of it. We have to stick to these rules, and that means looking at conservative figures to make sure it works. And the bonus is, again, these are conservative figures, which gives you a massive safety net because we know we're going to do better than 70%. I know that I'm going to do better than £750 per calendar month based on 70% occupancy levels. Okay, now what we also need to do as well is factor in our plan B, which is family let. So again, we work from 2 strategies, service accommodation first and family let second. And if you have to flip them, we now need to make sure that our rental can cover the mortgage. So not only do we look at our occupancy levels and the figures we can generate using our Deal Analyser on the Cashflow tab, we now need to flip it into a family let just to make sure that our rental income can pay the mortgage. Now, what we do here to get this signed off, for example, is that the mortgage must be 25% of the overall rental income. Okay, so we're going to put in there 25%. And what this means is, it means that for all the properties that we view, say for example, if we view 10 properties, only 2 of them will pass our checks. That means we're getting rid of 8. And it's vital that you do that using your head and not your heart, because we're finding world-class properties that it's going to give us fantastic return on investment. And that is the key thing, okay? We have to make sure that return on investment is there. So if we're putting our own money into a deal, we want to get our money back plus more. If we're using investors' money, we need to make sure, because we're in contract with the investor, that not only do we pay them back after a certain time frame, which is in the contract, but they get their guaranteed interest as well, and we get to make some money out of it ourselves. So we have to stick to this rule-based system, and that's why I'm more than happy to view 50 properties, but only select 5 or buy 5 out of that 50, because it sticks to this rule-based system. And the last thing we want to do is put more money into a deal later down the road because that property is not working for us. If we stick to these rules, using the Deal Analyser, we make sure we find world-class properties that give us great return on investment. And that's the key. Any questions at all, please put in the comment box, and I look forward to answering those questions for you. Many thanks.